Alright, well, I'm sitting out behind my barn today and getting ready to do a little video to show you my pig pen, how I built it, what I built it out of, and what I'm doing to protect it and the pigs from black bear. So hopefully my plan works and I don't have any issues, but they've definitely been around. I'll add some of that footage in and you guys can check it out. So stick with me if you're interested. It's going to be a good video. Alright, so like I said, we've got black bears in the area. Got some footage of them coming pretty close to the pig pen. Close enough to test my electric fence for me, which seems to be working well so far. And I guess I'll start out with saying this area of the woods back here is rather thick. And what I've done is I've thinned it out approximately 80 feet from there to the back of my pig pen. And when I thinned it out, a lot of the trees I thinned out were like this little scrappy maple tree that's in the shade there. And it's just grew too quick and it's kind of lanky and lean. It's not that healthy looking. So when I cut those down and thinned them out, I tried to keep healthier trees like that one right there. That's another maple, looks really healthy. So I took all those trees down and I ended up stripping the bark and building this pig pen out of them. On this back corner, it's about 6 feet high because this corner drops. So I put these rocks in and a little pallet hut on top of it so that the hut would help keep those boulders down, and anything trying to dig under there to get to the pigs would have a real workout doing it. It also let me keep the top of the fence level as I can build it anyways, all the way around. So it just kind of makes the whole thing look a little bit better, I think, than having it slope with the terrain. So maple, strip down, dig your holes, bury your poles, and then I framed the top to tighten it all up. These top poles right here go all the way across. They just notched out, and that's pretty solid. Makes everything nice and solid. Did it all with a chainsaw and these big lag screws to screw it together. It's 16 by 12 feet, the pen itself, and besides that maple, we have cattle panel. I went with cattle panel because cattle panel is a little bit taller than hog panel, and it would be harder for a bear to get over it. So another thing to help deter the bears. Alright, so a gate on each end. You're probably wondering about that. Again, this is all made out of maple. I have a gate right here and a gate on the other end. This one right here, you can see that I don't have much room between the wall of the barn and right here. I probably would have been better off if I'd put the gate over here. I'd already put it all in, and the reason I had it there is if I ever decide to extend this and take the little hut out and put the pigs inside here with an opening here, then I can just open this up and put another panel in here, and I've attached it to the barn so that I don't have any issues. So kind of, you know, trying to run two directions at the same time with it, but ended up this works out well. And I built this other gate back here so that if when the time comes when I dispatch the pigs and I need to get them out of the pen, I can do it from this direction with my tractor straight in, and I won't have any trouble lifting them up and getting them out. Coming from the side, my tractor won't lift a pig high enough to clear this. So that's why I went with two gates. Also, if I decide I'm going to take them to the butcher, I can get a trailer out here, remove the gate, and get them up into the trailer. Or I could park a trailer here, sideways, and have them come right out here. These gates both remove just by lifting them up off from this hinge. This is just 2 eye bolts. On the bottom eye bolt, I welded a bolt right here. So this gate just sits right down on top of that. And that's it. Alright, that's it for the pen itself. The little pallet hut that I've got back here is made completely out of pallets except for the bottom. The bottom is some plywood. You can see it through here, just sections, and it's all scrap. Everything I had was just laying around, And it's actually more difficult to build things out of scrap because it's all different lengths. You're trying to piece it all together to make it something that is a common shape instead of just using the wood whatever length it is. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but it turned out all right. It's 5x7 and the walls are all pallets. I've got some old 2x on the top here that I pieced together, and this tin on the roof and the sides was from an old barn that we tore down, or old garage we tore down, I guess it was. Keeps them in the shade if they want to go in there, keeps them out of the weather if it's raining, and it's worked out well so far. We've added this tarp on the top here, little fly, just to give them a little bit more shade. I've got this open section right here. You'd be surprised how much sunlight just comes through that little spot there. So we put that up so they have a little bit more shade. The watering system is just this 5-gallon pail. Got a fitting in the bottom. Comes out with a garden hose. Comes into some PVC. Just used fittings that I had laying around. So looks like this one's a copper one. This is PVC, back to copper. Got a stainless elbow under there underneath a PVC elbow. And they got the water spout right there. And that works out pretty well for them. They like it. They go through about 5 gallons of water a day. Normally come out in the morning, it's half empty, and then fill it up, come home from work around afternoon time, and it's half empty again. So there she is. Look, there's a demonstration going on right now. Well, there was. I missed it. Go ahead, get you some water. Tilly Green. Ellie Mae, stars of the show. So that's going to bring us on to the electric fence part of it. Basically, it's a 5-strand electric fence. The bottom strands, you can see this is where my hot wire comes in. And the reason that it skips this right here is because I was going to make this wire, actually I was going to make this wire a ground wire. So on the other side, all of the wires are connected together except for this one. So I had to do a jumper because I chose not to do that route. Anyways, these 3 wires on the bottom, these are about 2 inches, these insulators. And the reason I went with 2 instead of just 1 on the corner is it helps hold it. If a bear or something is going to come and climb on this and push in on it, then they might touch here and help ground it out. They'll still get a shock, I believe, but it just won't be as strong. So I wanted to keep it away from everything, so I put 2 insulators on here. I also put the shorter insulators on the bottom, a longer insulator here, and on the top. So as you look, this wire is in here, and this wire goes across out here. So the top 2 wires are out farther from the fence than the bottom ones. The thoughts were if a bear is going to be coming into the fence, they're going to actually try and climb over it. They're going to hit this wire long before they even get up here to start to climb. So hopefully they're going to get a shock before they touch any part of the fence. The knife switch is right here in the corner. It's open right now, so it's obviously not working. And inside I have a unit that's plugged into AC outlet, which is an American Farm Works from Tractor Supply, good for 60 miles. And it puts out 2.2 output joules. Now the significance behind that is that what I've researched and found out, most people say a black bear will be deterred with 0.7 to 1 joule will deter them. Well, that's most of the time, and nobody has a real study on it. So in my mind, more joules is more deterrent for a bear. So I boomed up a little bit on the cost of it, and I don't have anywhere near 60 miles, but it just makes me feel a little bit more peace about that I'm doing everything I can to protect these pigs. On the gate over here, I've got a T-style insulator. I've got one up here too. The strap is just off the game camera. I just tied it up so it'd be out of the way. Basically, that runs to a piece of PVC with J-bolts, and all the wires, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go through that rod, and they're terminated there. So I can just push here, and that's disconnected. Do the same down here, and I can roll this whole thing back like this out of the way. I don't have 5 separate handles that I'm trying to undo to open up this gate, and I have this gate protected with 5 wires just like everywhere else. This bottom section I did a little bit tighter and you can adjust it with the J-bolt right here. I did a little bit tighter so that when you put it on, it's a little harder to do, and it helps keep the wires a little bit tighter through there. But that's worked out pretty well so far, and the gate is just hooked down with a strap. The hinges are just a eye bolt and another one on the bottom where I just welded a bolt to it so that this eye bolt slips down over the top. So if I lift this whole gate up, I can take it right off from there. All right, well, I think that's everything. The watering, the hut, the electric fence. So now we're on to the bear. I've had the bear right up here. You'll see by the pictures. I've got his back end. The camera was in this tree right here. And thought I just heard one snort. And his head was in here somewhere. All I got is his back feet hanging out here because the camera is pointed this way. So we'll see how that turns out. But I know for a fact he got shocked on one of these wires right here, because he was there 1 second, 5 seconds later he was gone. That's it. Now I've got game cameras over here. That one works during the daylight hours only, so if he comes along, it was 8 in the morning the last time he came through, that'll get him. This one has some footage of him standing behind this little top of a tree here. He came up from this direction following the deer along. And the last camera is right here, and that's where I actually have the video of the bear out there by that Rubbermaid container